Hey friends, Wanda here at gandrbeefarm homestead. Well, it can't make its mind up whether it wants to go into spring or still be winter. First we got rain, heavy rain overnight, and then about 10 o'clock this morning we got a mix, and then it started to snow. So it's kind of like a mixed bag today. So while it's yucky out there, we're going to go ahead. I've got some milk, some Jersey 2 milk, about 2 quarts. So, and I've got a milk order coming in a couple days because I'm going to be making some fresh yogurt with some of that. But um, I wanted to take what was left of my previous um, Jersey milk. I wanted to make, I needed something, I'll not get it all drank up within the time frame. So I don't want it to go bad. So I'm going to take this almost 2 quarts of milk, which is almost a half a gallon, little shy, not that much. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, and we're going to make cottage cheese on the stove. No rennet. We're going to use pasteurized, low pasteurized A2 Jersey milk. And we're going to use some white distilled vinegar, the 5% that you get at the grocery store. 5%. And we're just going to use a quarter of a cup. Normally, if it was, 2 full quarts, you would use 6 tablespoons, which is a little bit more than a quarter cup of your vinegar. But beings, I don't have, see, I'm just a little shy of 2 quarts. So I lessened my vinegar down to just a quarter cup. It should be fine. Now you can use vinegar, white distilled vinegar, or you could use lemon juice, depending on how you like the flavor in your cottage cheese. This is the stovetop method. So I'm just going to show you how we're going to do it. We're going to put our milk in. We're going to do this very low heat, very low. And we're just going to allow that to come up to low temperature. And we need our milk to get up to 120 degrees. Okay, so let's get our milk. Now you need I got my cast iron coated enamel pot. That's a heavy bottom pot. That's a good one. If you have one of those, or a good stainless steel, one that won't stick. So that's what you need, a non-good sticky pan. So we're just going to pour our milk in. Both quarts. Okay. Let's get our other one in. That's almost a half of a gallon of milk. So that's almost a half a gallon of milk. So we're going to reserve our vinegar till later. We don't need it quite yet, so we're going to put that to the side. So we are going to heat our milk. We're going to turn our burner on low to low medium, okay? And then you're just going to allow, depending on how fast your stove is, I don't know how your burners are, but mine's like in the middle there. So we will just allow this to warm up slowly. And you'll need a thermometer, either a digital or you can use a meat thermometer. Ever how, what you want to use to measure or take the temperature. I'm going to use this. This is pretty much helps me. I have this. and I also have a digital one. So I'm just going to use this one for today. But either one, that whatever you have will work. So we'll come back once. Now this can take probably, could take up to 20 to 30 minutes on low, medium. So just keep eye on it every now and then. Stick your spatula in there, give it a nice little swirl, making sure nothing is sticking on in your pan. This is why you want a good non-heavy bottom, non-stick pan if you can. So we'll see you in about 20 minutes or so when we get our temperature. Get your temperature to 120 degrees. Well, it's been about 25 minutes, and I've been stirring my every now and again, and we should be about 120 to 120, a little over 120, but so we're right where we need to be. So I'm going to take my thermometer out, and I'm just going to digital check it just to see. It says 124, so we're good. So we're going to, I'm going to put the phone down, and what we're going to do now is we're going to turn our heat off, and we're going to slide our pan off of the heat, okay? You want it off of the heat, and then we're slowly going to add in our vinegar, and I'm going to bring you over, and then we'll need, you're only going to stir it very, very gently through, very, very slowly, within like 45 seconds to a minute, okay? But let's go ahead while our milk is at 120. If it's 120 to 125, don't sweat it. It's okay. I wouldn't let it go no higher than that, okay? But, so we're going to take our vinegar, and I just want you to watch what will happen when we slowly trickle this vinegar in, like so. Okay? And then I'm just going to take my spatula, and I'm slowly going to work around, up and down, slowly, very gently, for about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, let me get a little higher. There you go. Okay. Give it a chance for the vinegar to work in the milk. Now that it's been heated, and it should start to break curds, make curds into our milk. We're just going to do this slowly. You want to incorporate the vinegar all the way through. Not super fast. Okay, gently. Okay. Only for about a minute to work that vinegar around. Okay. And then all we need to do is to let that sit. We're going to take our spatula out now. We're going to take our lid. Can you see the milk breaking away? Then we're going to put our lid on, just like so. And we're going to allow that to sit for 30 minutes or so. 30, 40 minutes, and then we'll come back after that. Don't touch it, leave it a be, and we'll come back in about 30 so minutes. Well, it's been about 30 minutes, and we're getting ready to check our pan that we've had sitting to allow the curds to separate from the whey in the milk. But before we take off our lid, we have to decide which way we want to use the method of straining. Now, there's a couple things you can do. You can use the traditional way of having a colander with, you know, a cheesecloth, a real sackcloth linen, you know, to strain off the whey to separate to get your curds. Now, this would go on top of a deeper pan so that your whey would go, you know, to the bottom, and then all your cheese and stuff would go in the top. But that's the normal way that most people, I've done it, I still use it sometimes. But the thing is, you have to clean that cloth, clean that cloth and get it in some soaking water once you're all finished, because they are so hard to get off if you let them dry out too long. But that's one way you can do it. I'm not going to use that particular way today. Today I'm going to be using my my yogurt maker strainer. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to show you how this works. I use this when I make my yogurt. And if you've seen that video, if you haven't, then you need to go watch it, because this is a great way to not have to do the cheesecloth way of straining. This has a sealable lid, and then you have your removable mesh strainer that has holes even in the middle there, and all around is your mesh strainer. And then this is the part that catches all the whey, all the excess liquid that you're wanting to strain off. So you just put that in there, and then you can store it in the fridge later, just like that, and while it's straining. Now, this is a 12 cup. It holds the 2 quarts of milk will fit in this this maker. I've used it for yogurt. I have not used it to do cottage cheese. So today would be a good day to use it for something other than just yogurt. And it works very well for the yogurt. You just have to use a spatula. You know, when it's done, you don't want to scrape, you know, your sides too much with a sharp object, and a spatula works very well. So I'm going to leave the lid off, and I'm going to set this down, and I'm going to slide. Well, let me just set that there. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to bring you over, and we're going to take the lid off, and we're going to see how well the vinegar did separating the curds from the whey without using rennet. Rennet is another way that you can use to separate and thicken. But if you don't have that, this is a great, something that you probably already have at your house, which is, who doesn't have white distilled vinegar? So you can use that. What a great way to do it. So let's take the lid off. It's been about 34 minutes with me waiting, and let's see where we go from here. Okay. I'm going to take that, set that down just a minute. Now, I am just going to take my spatula, and I want you to be able to see the whey has separated. And this is your curds. Okay? Which I'm not going to disturb them too much. There you go. Look at that. Okay, so what you're going to do, that's what you want to look for in your pot. And as long as you have that, you're good to go. So you just decide how you want to strain. I'm going to slide my pot over, okay, so I can use this spot, because we are going to slowly, this is still warm. It's warm to the touch. It's not hot no more, but it's still warm. So I'm going to bring my pan, my dish over, my maker. Make sure that's not too hot. Let me put that towel there because it was hot. It was a hot little spot, and this is plastic, so we're just going to put a little towel here to help protect that while I pour. There we go. Okay, so you slowly will just take your pot, whether using the colander method or the mesh strainer method. Okay, we're going to slowly pour Oh, I am making a little mess. Glad I put that towel there. It's splatting a little. I guess that's to be expected. Well, we do have a few little bit of curds left in there, so I'm just gonna grab the spatula and put them right in there. Okay. And then I'm just going to move this around, these curds. Try to make them a little even in my strainer. Okay. I did splat a little. I'll have to clean that little mess up that I made. Let me set this to the side. So, okay, there you go. You can see a lot better. Now, all we want to do, now we can let this, look at it already, strain that much out that when we poured it in. But now we want this to get to the thick consistency, and it will continue to make the curds, a little bit more conformed. So we're going to let this sit here at least for a half hour, and then we'll come and check to see how it is straining before we decide whether we want to remove the curds. We don't want them to be totally dried out, but we want them to be a nice consistency for the cottage cheese. So we're going to give it a half an hour, and then we'll see how far down it has strained. We'll be back. Well, our 30 minutes went up, the timer went off. So now we just want to check the consistency in the strainer to see if we need to remove it or allow it to go a little longer. And we have gotten quite a bit of the liquid, the whey, out of that that batch so far. But look, we still have quite a bit, not a ton, but enough that we know that our curds aren't exactly where they need to be. So we will need to let them go and strain a little longer. But we just want to see where we are as far as, yeah, see, we're getting there. But there still is, see the way down there? So, yeah. So what we're going to do, we are going to allow this to set, I'm going to say another, I'm going to go 20 minutes and then we'll check it again. So we'll see at 20 minutes. Well, this is what it's going to look like after another 25 minutes. I went a little extra. So I think this is pretty good. Of course, you have to pick your own consistency of how you know, how thick you want your curds. Or you could always, if they get too thick, you can always add in a little cream or milk to your curds to make them a little more creamy if they get too thick. Even when you put them in the fridge. Once we get ready to, this is a pretty good consistency, I think. And what you'll want to do now is, before you put them in a container, an airtight container, you'll want to take a taste of your curd before you add any type of salt. Most cheeses have salt in them. You know, that's a really good taste that the salt gives. But being this was done with vinegar, it's going to have that slight tang to it after, you know, when you taste it. So before you add salt, give it a little taste first to see how much salt. You'll want to add a little at a time till you get to that, you know, that, wow, I love this. That's what you want to get to. So I'm going to taste this, and then we're going to decide if I'm going to add a little bit more or any salt at all. It's all up to you how you like your cottage cheese. Let's go. It's not real vinegary, okay, even though it was made with the vinegar. So it does have that little tang. I think just a tad of salt, because this will continue to, let me just put this in the sink. It will continue to thicken as when you put it in the fridge. I have my baby grandson, so I got to keep an eye on him. He woke up, so you might hear him oohing and cooing in the background. So what you need is an airtight container with a lid. So I'm going to take this. It's probably about a couple cups, maybe a cup and a half of curds, enough to eat. You'll store this and use it within a week in the refrigerator after you make your cottage cheese, okay? So I'm going to put the phone down, and we're just going to go ahead and scoop out. We're going to use our spatula to get this in the container, okay? That is a nice little batch of curds. Look at that. Nice batch of little cottage cheese. I can't wait to use it on my fruit tomorrow. I'm going to let it sit overnight. in the fridge. Let it get good and cold. I like really good cold cottage cheese. So this is probably about a cup, maybe a little over a cup of cottage cheese. That's a nice little amount for your 2 quarts of milk. Now, like I said, I'm going to use the whey. This batch of whey, because I still have whey in the fridge from my yogurt, which I'll be using some of that with my new batch of yogurt and to my culture starter. But this whey here, I'm going to let the pigs have all of that. It's a good protein for them to have for in the winter. Okay, so we're just going to set that to the side so I can get that container ready for the pigs. And then later on or tomorrow, they will have a nice, yummy treat. We're going to add I'm going to take another clean spoon. And I am going to add maybe 1/8 or so of a teaspoon to maybe just a tad more. Maybe 1/4. Sprinkle that all over the cheese. And we're just going to work that in. And of course, you could always add more. I use Redmond real mineral salt, kosher salt, the best. Always get the real salt, not the yuck salt at the store. So, yep, just mix this right in. Stir that up into your curds. Allow it to thicken. So it all depends on the consistency of cottage cheese that you like. Now remember, this will thicken even more once we get it into the fridge. So I'm just going to pop a little here because I don't want to put that in my mouth. Okay, let's try it now that we've added a little bit of salt to it. Now that gave it a little more kick. I like that. I do. That was delicious. That I do like. Okay, so in the fridge it goes. We got a nice container. We need to eat it up within a week in the fridge. And there we go. We have got our fresh, homemade from scratch cottage cheese that we made today on the stovetop. And we only did it with 2 or 3 little ingredients. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll give it a try. Let me know, do you make your own cottage cheese? And always know that, hey, you know what's in it when you make it. So, okay, take care. God bless. We'll see you real soon again on the homestead.